Welcome back. Wisconsin Republicans rolling out both a bill to grant some exceptions for rape and incest under the state's current ban, but also a bill that would severely restrict how the University of Wisconsin handles training students on reproductive care. That bill would ban local and state employees from participating in training for or encouraging abortions while on the clock. Braden Ross spoke to Democratic Senator Kelda Roys and has more.
I guess I want to start with what was your initial reaction when you heard about the Taxpayer Abortion Subsidy Prevention Act when you saw this going around?
I was disappointed but not surprised. We know that it has long been a tactic and a goal of the anti-choice movement to not only overturn Roe v. Wade, but also to restrict access to abortion nationally. This bill is part of that effort, but it goes far beyond just restricting access to abortion. It actually gags anybody who's a state employee from even giving information about abortion. And so that targets everyone from doctors and nurses who work for the university to public health professionals to university professors from discussing abortion, and even legislators like me from sharing information that's factual with our constituents.
And Senator Jacques has specifically called out the UW and, talked about the idea of this not being the UW not being allowed to even send people across state lines to get trained on abortion care. What do you think this says about the state of education in Wisconsin, or how could this impact the state of education?
Wisconsin faces a huge crisis in access to healthcare. We simply do not have enough healthcare providers to take care of our aging population. And certainly, hostile and ignorant effects or bills like this gag rule are going to exacerbate that crisis. Doctors and nurses are in high demand everywhere, and they're going to go to a place where they don't feel like they're going to face prosecution for providing accurate, necessary, and frankly, ethically required information to their patients.
And then another question this bill raises is the idea of what is encouraging abortion. Could a lawmaker or an UW employee have a poster in their office that says, I support Planned Parenthood, or wear a Planned Parenthood pin? What do you think about that?
Well, it's extremely troubling assault on our First Amendment rights. I have made it a priority to inform my constituents about medication abortion and make sure that everyone knows that even despite the fact that abortion is unavailable here in Wisconsin, you can still go online to aidaccess.org and get access to a medication abortion. That's the kind of information, whether I'm making a post on Facebook or talking to a constituent who's called and asked, that is Senator Jacques wants to criminalize. And it's a truly un-American assault on our fundamental freedoms.
So with that being said, do you foresee any legal challenges to this bill if it were to continue moving on? Any amendment challenges or?
There's no question that this bill is unconstitutional. I think what it really does is it shows us the goal of the anti-choice movement, and that is to create a climate of fear where abortion is not only inaccessible in states like Wisconsin that are controlled by Republicans, but also across the country. Some of the telling things about this bill, it refers to, quote unquote, transporting women across state lines. Just the dehumanizing language as if women are livestock, and rather than individuals that need health care and are being deprived of it in our own states going somewhere to receive it. And that's really indicative of the kind of mindset that we see from the most extreme members of the anti-choice movement.
And do you see this bill moving forward at all? I know right now it's just circulating for co-sponsorship, but is this something you expect to move forward? Of course, we expect that Governor Evers wouldn't sign it, but.
Unfortunately, I think there are a number of Republican politicians who would like to see even more restrictive laws. Right now, Wisconsin is currently suffering under legal uncertainty given the 1849 criminal abortion ban. Andre Jacques and several other legislators have indicated that they want to, not only are they not open to more exceptions, which are very narrow, they actually want to take away the exception for the life of the woman. And they want to control not just what healthcare we can receive, but what information we can share. That's very scary. I think, most Americans, most Wisconsinites agree not only that abortion should be safe and legal, it's not a controversial issue in terms of the numbers of support, But we should all be free to share information and speak our own minds.
And we see a lot of movement right now within the Republicans and the legislature surrounding abortion. Of course, we're 3 weeks out, less than 3 weeks out from the state Supreme Court election. How do you think that plays into this landscape that's going on right now in the legislature when it comes to abortion?
Yeah, I think, the Republicans see their preferred Supreme Court candidate failing and, having to own his extreme anti-choice views. They know that's a losing issue because they had big losses in November nationwide. And so they're kind of grasping at anything that they can do to try to appear less extreme. But we know because of the long history of anti-choice extremist legislation in Wisconsin that they're not sincere about this effort. And it's just a desperate ploy to try to manipulate voters and the media. And it's not going to work because voters are too smart for that.
Awesome. Anything else you'd like to say about the state of abortion legislation right now in Wisconsin?
Well, it's critically important that people make sure that they make their voice heard in the legislature, at the polling place, in the courts. We need to make sure that the majority is heard on this issue. Abortion is normal. It is not controversial. It is part of healthcare. And the more we see about the devastating impact of making it unavailable, the more people recognize how essential it is for abortion to be safe and legal for everyone.
Again, that was Braden Ross with Senator Kelda Roys. Just ahead, Dane County reaches a contract after months for housing inmates outside of the county. Why it is far from the end of the story, that is just after the break.